Hello and welcome back to the New Learning 30-Minute Podcast. Today we are joined by Marcel Lopez. How old were you when you first started wrestling?
Um, I'm not sure what age I was, but I know that I was in fourth grade.
Fourth
And
grade?
up to that point, all I did was play basketball, and I played football and basketball. And then fourth grade, I started wrestling, and
Yeah.
I split. I did basketball and wrestling, and I was just too much. It was too much time, and so I just like sixth grade or fifth grade, I made the
Yeah.
transition to just wrestling.
Why did you start wrestling?
I don't even know. I was like, I was like my last flag football game, my coach, like he was a wrestling coach too, and he handed out flyers and said we should all try it, and I tried it, and I originally thought it was like WWE spandex and boots, uh, elbow drops, but no, it was totally different what I thought it was, and I'm glad I made that decision.
Yeah. What was your first experience wrestling? Like, what do you remember? Like, what was your first wrestling?
Like tournament or practice.
Anything? Like, what was your first?
I remember walking into my first ever practice room and smelling the chlorine from the mat cleaner and stepping on the mat. It was soft and like that's pretty much all I remember. But when it comes to a tournament, I remember my first ever tournament was my home tournament. It was like my home kids club tournament, and I was like fourth grade. I was like 35 pounds. I was one of
Yeah.
those really tiny kids, and
Yeah.
I remember they just got beat up on 3 times, went home, and was sad about it. But yeah, I mean, I remember getting pinned in under a minute each time.
Did you always like wrestling? Like all the way through elementary, middle school?
Um, I liked it. I mean, at first I was like, it's just another sport. I liked every sport equally. I liked all
Yeah.
the sports I did, but by the time I got to middle school, I was like, yeah, I definitely like wrestling the best. I feel like I could do the best and get the furthest in life in it.
Yeah. What was your first memory of AAU?
I went to AU districts when I was in fifth grade, and I won it, and I thought I was like the greatest thing ever, and so I was like cocky about it. I was
Yeah.
not humble at all, and then I went to the state tournament for that, and I totally got like demolished. I went 0-2, and wasn't a very good experience.
Yeah. Like, what was your favorite memory? Like throughout all of AAU?
All of AU favorite memory. Um, It'd probably be my seventh grade year when I won my first state title, and
Yeah.
yeah, I thought that was like I really enjoyed that, and yeah,
Yeah. How did you do like all around in AAU?
I mean to start I wasn't very good. I was like probably the bottom of each bracket when it came
Yeah.
to uh, like wrestling, but towards the end of it, like my middle school years, I started getting better, and I started winning a lot more, and I thought, man, if I feel like this is what I want to do when I get older.
Yeah. So you were on Team Shut? Is that
Yeah.
how you pronounce it? What was that like?
It's like a pretty much like a national team out of like Pennsylvania. It's like one of the best in the nation. It's
Yeah.
like top. It's definitely top two, and um, I always wrestle good when I wrestle for them because it's got good coaches, and
Yeah.
I just always enjoy it because we pretty much win whatever tournament we do, and I usually go undefeated or I might lose one match. But I
Yeah.
think in my whole career wrestling for shot, I've only lost one match
Really?
out of like 25, 30.
Are you still doing Shut
Yeah, I'll be
this summer
wrestling for them in April, no, May in Virginia.
in Virginia?
Yeah.
You did that last year, didn't you?
Um, no, I didn't do that last year. I went down to Disney last year.
Oh,
That's
that's fair.
pretty much the only summer wrestling I did. I was working most of the time.
Oh. Well, what was the furthest you traveled on Team Shut?
Furthest I've traveled, probably for them would have been Triadelphia, West Virginia. It's like right on the border of. It's like on that little part of West Virginia that's like really skinny.
Yeah.
It's pretty different than Iowa. A lot of mountains.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What was your favorite part of like high school wrestling?
Um, I don't know. Probably just figuring out how everything worked, figuring out how different it is than middle school. And I mean, I enjoyed just every aspect of it, from practice
Yeah.
and to like the tournaments and just hanging out with the team.
What's your favorite accomplishment of high school?
Um, I would probably say winning my 4 state titles. I
The
think
fourth.
I mean, I think that's pretty hard to do, obviously, but
Yeah.
I don't really can't really think of anything I'd put above that.
Mhm. What's your favorite memory like at state? Like all of all 4 years, what do you think your favorite memory is?
My favorite memory, probably, um, would be after my junior year. Just like if I, because I feel like that was the hardest one, and
Yeah.
after me and Dom, we kind of just chilled in the hotel room and ate pretty much everything we saw, ordering a bunch of food, eating
Yeah.
it, getting in a food coma, just passing out at like 4 in the morning, and waking up the next day and eating more.
Even more.
Yeah, I feel like that was my favorite memory thus
Yeah.
far.
What's your favorite memory at this year's state? Like
Um,
that you'll remember for a while.
Probably just that feeling on the podium
Mhm.
and Cheery telling me some very tear-jerking things on the podium. So I got a little teary-eyed, but
Yeah.
I feel like that was my favorite part of this year.
Mhm. And I saw that you were wrestling Jisuargo,
Jessaroga.
just Aroga.
Yeah.
On the 12th.
Yeah.
How you feel about that match?
I mean, I think it'd be the toughest match I've ever wrestled. I mean, he's number one in the nation at 126. He's pound for pound the best wrestler in Iowa.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to go out there and, I mean, just wrestle. I mean, I
Yeah.
took the match because I feel like it's been forever since I was an underdog, and I feel like I need to prove myself, prove that I can win those tough matches, and I feel like that's the perfect match to take.
Yeah. It's called the Super Conflict? Is that what it's called?
Night of Conflict.
Night of Conflict. Is there like a lot? Is there more than? How many matches are there that night?
It's like a MMA card. They'll just throw together a bunch of matches, and they're usually really good matches, and they'll just wrestle them kind of like how they do.
Just any other-
They'll have like a main card. They'll have a main event, and that's what I'm wrestling is
Yeah.
in the main event.
Main event. Who else is in the main event?
Just Roga.
Just
It's
Roga.
that's like the main event. It's like the last match of
Yeah.
the night.
Like, what do you like thinking going into this match?
Um, I don't even know. I'm just gonna go out there and just try to take it to him. I mean,
Yeah.
he's probably gonna be a lot technically better than me, but I feel like I have more of a athletic edge on him.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna use that to my advantage. I'm gonna just try to win, like I do pretty much with every match.
Yeah. Like, what do you? Are you gonna like? What do you do? What are you gonna do to prepare for this match?
I'm gonna be. I mean, it's not very much of a weight cut. I'm on like my diet where I only eat Nutella, and I'm like 135. So and then we're wrestling at 131, so it's only 4 pounds. I'll probably fall
Yeah.
off pretty easy. So I'm probably just gonna eat a little better, and then I'm gonna practice pretty much every day and work out and just try to get in the best shape I can.
Yeah. What do you think like was the hardest part of wrestling, like in high school?
Hardest part I'd probably say going through injuries and practices and just because I only missed like one tournament my entire 4 years. I missed one meet, so I missed 3 matches.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's pretty hard to go a whole season without getting hurt, let alone a
Yeah.
whole career. And I pretty much wrestled my entire career with injuries.
Yeah.
Especially my sophomore year, I like tore my shoulder up, and I wrestled the entire season like that. Had 2 braces, KT tape, and it was just really tough because I had to therapy every day, ice, heat, exercises to improve the movement, and I thought that was pretty hard just dealing with that, and then cutting a lot of weight on top of that. I mean,
Yeah.
pretty difficult.
How's it like maintaining your weight? Like, do you have any weight problems this year or any years?
I mean, you'll always have weight problems to start. Like, I started the year at 132, and I was like a small 132 pounder, and I thought going down to 26 was gonna kill me because I tried going down like in October, and it was just terrible. I Didn't feel good, and
Was that for the Super 32?
yeah. And by the end of the year, like at state, everybody on my like, you get a 2 pound allowance after Christmas, so you can
Yeah.
be 128, and then like at state you get a pound each day, so you can be
Yeah.
130 at the max. So on Saturday, when it was the last weigh-in, everybody was like 129.8, 129.6.
Yeah.
I was like 124.
Really?
So I was like super undersized compared to everybody, even though like I would have been like, if it wasn't at that point in the year, I probably would have been really close to weight. I was like never left to practice towards the middle of the year.
Yeah.
You remember I never left to practice under, and then I just all of a sudden couldn't put any weight on. I was just falling off too
Yeah.
easy.
Just couldn't put any weight on.
Yeah.
And it just came all off.
Yeah.
What would you say your hardest match was throughout
At
all high school?
all of high school, I'd probably say any of my matches with Blaine. I mean, he's the only person I've lost to besides a senior at 106, but I've wrestled him 4 times, maybe. No, I wrestled him 5 times, and I beat him twice, and I've lost him three times.
Was that all your freshman year?
My freshman year, we wrestled like his first match, my like fourth match. I beat him, and then we wrestled at Fort Madison that year. He beat me, and then I wrestled him at a duel at Highland, and he beat me. And then I wrestled him in the conference finals my freshman year, and I beat him. And then my sophomore year was the last time we wrestled, and I was in the conference finals, and he beat me there. And we haven't wrestled since then.
Yeah. Do you think that you could beat him still?
I mean, if we're the same size, he's quite a bit bigger than me now.
Yeah.
But if we're the same size, I feel like I could.
Yeah. Like, what do you think that your biggest problem will be in this next match?
I mean, he's not gonna roll over like most kids. Like most kids I wrestle, they're just intimidated by the name, and he's got a bigger name than me, so he's not gonna be intimidated at all. So it's gonna be pretty much a dogfight from start to finish.
What was the hardest part, like, of state, like, in general?
Of state,
Yeah.
probably staying focused. I mean, can be a lot of distractions, and there'll be a lot of distractions when it comes to what's going on around you, and just staying. Like I'd sometimes lock myself in my room and just listen to music, and that pretty much got me through. I did that pretty much every year, all 4 years, and it got me through it. So I feel like that was a big help. But the biggest problem or struggle was just the distractions around.
Yeah. What's your plan for college next year?
Like for wrestling or
Yeah, wrestling.
I'm probably gonna redshirt my freshman year, and they're gonna put me on some stuff, not like supplements or anything, but they're gonna put me through workouts to get me up to size, because I'll be a pretty small 133 pounder, and then they'll probably get me up to 133. I'll be a redshirt freshman. I'll wrestle for them, but yeah, I'll probably redshirt my freshman year. I'll wrestle 133 all 4 years.
All 4 years you'll wrestle 133?
Probably, unless I hit like a massive growth spurt, I'll bump it to 41 or 49.
Yeah. Do you think, like, what do you think was the hardest year at state?
At state?
Yeah.
Probably my freshman year. I mean, I was the 5th seed. I wrestled the 4th seed, but he was like he was the 3rd ranked kid. He was a senior from Auburnett, and that was a 3-2 match.
Yeah.
And then in the semis, I had the 2 ranked kid. He was like 49-1, and I beat him in double overtime. And then in the finals, I had the number 1 ranked kid, and he was like undefeated, I think. If not, he had like 50 plus wins, and I wasn't supposed to win that, but I mean, I've won it, and that's definitely the hardest state bracket I've had.
Was that your hardest match? Like, just one match? Was that your hardest match?
No, I think my hardest match was my junior year in the state finals against the Lisbon kid. I mean, he's definitely one of the harder matches, but him or Blaine would probably be the hardest matches. But that kid I had my freshman year, he'd be in the top 5, I think.
You think?
Yeah.
Out of like top 5 out of like all the kids that you wrestled, like ever?
Yeah. Or just in high school.
Just high school.
Yeah.
Is there any like middle schoolers that you've faced, or like
kids I wrestled in middle school?
Middle school or AAU that like
Yeah, I mean,
that have you wrestled again this year, or
who
in
I've
high school?
who I've wrestled in high school?
Yeah.
Trying to think. I don't think so. I mean, a lot of the kids in AAU, they go to big schools when they
Oh,
get to high
yeah.
school because they're like most big clubs are out of like big schools like
Yeah.
Waverly Shell Rock or Southeast Polk or
Yeah.
one of those schools. But I mean, some of the people I've wrestled in high school have been in like brackets that I didn't wrestle them in because I was terrible then and they were good then.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some kids that were in Dom's 8th grade bracket who were in my freshman year
Freshman
bracket.
bracket.
Yeah.
Do you think that was like, you faced anyone?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. What was like, do you think was the most fun part of wrestling? Like, what part do you think you had the most fun in?
Just pretty much I mean, there wasn't an aspect that I disliked. Maybe when the practices got hard or me and Dom were throwing fists, but I mean, I pretty much enjoyed every moment of it. Like before weigh-ins, after weigh-ins,
Yeah.
wrestling, after wrestling. Just like,
Yeah.
it's just overall an enjoyable experience that I'd recommend to pretty much everybody.
Is there any like part of wrestling that you like dislike besides the practices?
Cutting weight.
Cutting weight.
That can be tough, especially if you don't do it right.
Oh
Or
yeah.
if you do too much in too short of time. You kind of gotta be on that. Like, you can't really have a day off with that. You can't have cheat days because then you could balloon back up
Yeah.
to whatever weight you started at and you lose all that
Yeah.
progress.
And you have to restart all over again.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think? Like, how do you think you will like do against your upcoming match?
I think I'll do pretty good. I mean, I think I'll be his toughest match. I mean, a lot of people just roll over because of who he is. He's like a bronze world medalist and like pretty much won pretty much every tournament. And I feel like that I'll be his toughest test up to this point.
Yeah. Do you think? What are your predictions? Do you have any like predictions for this match?
No, I mean I haven't really predicted it, but I mean I know it'll be
Yeah.
a close match. I know it'll probably be an overtime match like most of those big matches. But I feel like I'll win it and pretty much
You do think so?
if it's overtime or not.
Thank you for joining. That was the New London podcast. I didn't have anything left. I was pulling half those questions.
Yeah.